Hello everyone. Today in this lecture we will study the basics of synchronous machine. First we will try to study the construction details of the synchronous machine. The detailed treatment of this machine or this topic will be covered when we will study the subject of electrical machines. Today in this subject only basics are required. So first, while dealing with the construction of the machine, we know that any electrical machine or rotating machine has two parts. One is fixed and other is rotating, and these two parts are made of ferromagnetic material which helps in the passing of flux through them. That is, there are two main paths for the magnetic flux which are made of ferromagnetic material. That is, their permeability is very high as compared to air, and these two parts are called as rotor and stator. Stator, as the name suggests, is stationary, and for synchronous machine it is also called armature, since it is carrying those windings which are connected to the outer circuit for the transmission or the generation of the supply of the power, or if it is acting as a motor, then it will take power from the outer external electrical supply. So that is why it is called armature. In armature we have longitudinal slots. What does this term longitudinal mean? It means that the slots are along the length of the motor or the machine. Like if I try to show here, let us say if this is the front side, this is the rotor, and this is air gap, and this is stator. Let us say this is the stator, this will be rotor, this will be air gap. Air gap here has been exaggerated, that is, it is shown much more than its actual proportion, and this is the stator. These both rotor and stator are made of ferromagnetic material, and this is just air. So the stator as well as rotor carry slots for the windings. Let us first try to see the stator part. In stator, if I try to show it longitudinally, that is along the length of the motor or the machine or the generator, now let us say this is this portion. I try to cut this portion like this and try to expand flat like this. Okay, so what I will find that along this length, this is the axial length. If this is length L, then this will be length L only. So along this length there are slots in it. That is, this stator is carrying various slots, and in these slots windings are placed. Windings are placed in these slots like this. So this is the meaning of longitudinal slots, that is, the slots are along the length of the machine. So in these slots the windings are placed, and these windings are connected to the external circuit. Let us say it is connected to phase A, this is connected to phase C, and some winding is connected to phase C. So if it is generator, it will deliver power to the external circuit, and if it is a motor, it will take power from the external circuit. So you see, in the stator we have slots which contain winding, and they are connected to the external circuit. Now let us come to the rotor. Now this rotor is able to move. Okay, this is kind of a shaft. That is, this rotor is mounted on a shaft which can rotate, and this rotor is also made of ferromagnetic material. But in this, the field winding carries the DC current. Like in stator it was carrying AC current, from the external circuit if it was a motor, or it was giving AC current to the external circuit if it was a generator. But in the field winding only DC current is present, which is given by some exciter, which can be made by some solid state circuitry using some rectifier, or it can be made through some this DC generator, so that it produces DC current for the field winding. And this generator, this rotating generator, DC generator, if it is used as an exciter, then this DC generator can be a standalone, or it can be mounted on the same shaft of the generator. That is, let us say if it is a generator, it will be moved by some prime mover, let us say some turbine. So the exciter of that DC generator or the exciter will also be moved by this same turbine only, and this will provide DC, and this DC will be fed into the field winding of this generator. So there are various means to provide DC current to the field winding which are placed on the rotor. Now, construction wise, there are two types of construction. One is cylindrical construction, that is rotor is totally cylindrical, that is very symmetrical, and other is salient pole. That is, one is cylindrical and other is salient pole. Salient pole means that is we have poles which are not cylindrical, but rather these can be like this. Let us say this is the shaft. This will act as a north pole, let us say, and this will act as a south pole. This is pole shoe and this is also pole shoe. So in this way, this can act as a rotor, it will rotate when shaft will rotate. So this kind of construction will be known as salient pole, and this kind of construction will be known as cylindrical pole. So this also carries a winding. This will carry a winding. If DC current is flowing, then it will produce a flux in this direction. So it will act as north and it will act as south. Similarly, it will carry some longitudinal slots, and in these slots winding will be there, which will produce various poles, north south poles. In this way, field will be produced by the rotor winding. Now we know that any current carrying conductor produces magnetic field. So these stator windings, when they will carry current, they will also produce some magnetic field, and there will be interaction between this field as well as the rotor field, and this interaction will give rise to torque if some conditions are fulfilled, and we will see what are those conditions also. Now one more thing, usually in salient pole generators there are something called damper winding or damper bars. What is the use of those damper windings or damper bars? As the name suggests, this damper means it damps something. That is, it tries to reduce or means gradually reduce or die out the various vibrations which are present in the machine due to some transients. Let us say there is this let us say this is the stator part and this is this salient pole generator. Now this is rotating, let us say like this, and we are getting power to external circuit. Now let us say there is some fault. Okay, so due to this fault, the flux produced by the armature winding and the rotor winding will have some relative motion, and because of that, due to these transient and relative motion, there will be some transient or vibrations in the rotor also. So to reduce those vibrations, because those vibrations will be harmful to the integrity or construction of the machine, so we need to reduce those vibrations. So what we do, we put damper bars on it. So the purpose of those damper bars is that they reduce the vibrations which are there in the machine whenever there is some transient. So how do these damper bar work? Now I will try to show here that, let us say this is the surface of the, this is the top surface of the pole shoe, and I am trying to show it longitudinally. Okay, this is the pole shoe, trying to show it longitudinally. This is the length L of the machine. We will put bars like this, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3rd bar, like this. Now what happens, whenever there is some relative motion, this rotor is rotating in this direction, let us say at synchronous speed. Now the stator field is also rotating at synchronous speed, so there is no relative motion between this rotor as well as this stator field. So there is no motion, relative motion, so there will be no induced current in these bars. But whenever there is some transient, then there will be some difference between its speed. Let us say this is NR and this is NS. There will be some difference. So because of that relative difference or relative motion between these two magnetic fields, or this field will move at some speed and this rotor will move at some other speed, so there will be some induction of EMF. And since these bars are short circuited, because this material is only ferromagnetic, so these bars are short circuited, so there will be a flow of current in these bars, like as that in squirrel cage motor, induction motor. So because of this flow of current, a torque will be produced which will oppose the relative motion between these two, this magnetic field created by the stator and this rotor movement. And due to this opposition, the vibrations which occur due to some transient, they will die out more faster or much faster whenever damper bars are present on the salient pole salient poles of the generator of the machine. The same thing can be used in synchronous motor also. That's why I am using the word machine. The machine term includes both generator as well as motor. Now if this machine is being run by some external prime mover means some kind of turbine or some engine like in diesel generators. Now this turbine will move this, so there will be some mechanical torque which will be input to the machine. Now because of this, some power will be generated on the electrical terminals and this power can be taken out. So there will be some difference between this mechanical input and the electrical output, and this difference will cater to the various losses which occur in the machine, like iron losses, windage losses or friction losses. Now there comes next concept, that is how to determine the frequency of the generated voltage. Now we know that whenever we, let us say this is a salient pole machine, let us say this is a salient pole machine. Now let us say it is some stator winding on the stator. This is stator. Okay, let us say this is A and A dash. This is phase A winding. So this is north pole, this is south pole. So initially this north pole will let us say create some voltage, let us say like this. Okay, I am not trying to deal with the phase difference between the MFF and the voltage. I am trying to just show the concept here. Let us say it will generate, this north pole will generate some voltage in this direction. When south pole will come, this will generate voltage in other direction. So in this way voltage will be produced in this external winding. Now you see, when the one cycle of this rotation is completed, then one cycle of the voltage wave will be completed. So one cycle of the voltage wave is produced when one pole pair, that is one pole pair, this is a pair, is traversed, that is it is passed over. So when it is passed over by one pole pair, there is a generation of one cycle of the voltage. Now let us say if I have more than one pair, that is, let us say there are p poles, then there will be p by 2 pole pairs. So p by 2 cycles will be produced whenever these p by 2 poles circulate over the winding, because one pole pair generates one cycle, so p by 2 pole pair will generate p by 2 cycles. Now if n is the rpm, that is revolution per minute, that is one pole pair passes over this winding n times in a minute, so how many cycles will be produced? N into p by 2 in 1 minute. So in 1 second, how much will be the cycles that will be produced in the winding? It will be 1 by 60. So now this, what is this called? Number of cycles produced per second. This is just the frequency of the produced wave or the generated wave. So the frequency of the generated wave can be written as np by 120, where n is the revolution per minute, or this is the famous equation, n is equal to 120 f by p. So in this way we can derive this equation of frequency and the revolution per minute or the rotating speed. Now from this thing we can also find the relation between electrical angle as well as mechanical angle, that is theta electrical is equal to p by 2 theta mechanical. That is, when there was one pole pair, then theta mechanical was equal to theta electrical, that is this whole 360 degree mechanically was equal to the 360 degree of the electrical wave. Now if there were more pole pairs, then mechanical angle will be same, whole 360 degree, but in this 360 degree, if there were one more pole pair, that is 2 pole pairs, then there will be 2 waves produced, that is electrically 760 degree angle will be produced. So in this way I can say that number of pole pairs multiplied by theta mechanical can give me the electrical angle. In this way I can say that theta electrical is given as p by 2 theta mechanical. Now we will assume that the MMF wave produced by these windings are sinusoidal in nature, and they are so placed around the periphery of the machine that the distribution of the flux wave or MMF wave is sinusoidal. Although actually in a machine the distribution is triangular, but for the mathematics part or analytical part we will only take the first fundamental, that is fundamental of that triangular wave, and we will consider that the distribution is also sinusoidal along the periphery of the machine. So in the next video we will try to understand the effect of armature MMF or the armature flux on the synchronous machine. I hope that this topic is now clear to you, and if it is not clear to you, then I suggest that you try to watch this video again and again, and if there are still some doubts you can write to us using our Telegram group, whose link is given in the description of this video. And if you find that this video is helpful to you, then it is requested that you please share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and also click on the bell icon so that you can get the notification of the new video as and when it is uploaded on the channel. Thank you.